Woman up, 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 up. Pull it together. Where's the tough, 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 tough girl that you let go and get up? Time to get your ass back on track. Wake up, girl, you better. Woman up.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Jody Bear, and this is our New Year, New Nutrition podcast, our TV show, Healthopedia 365. When we go alive, and yes, this is, I did the misnomer, when we go alive, because I feel so alive together with us and this team every single time we do this. Why? Because this tribe has our vibe. And if you're new to us, we bring Doctor Talk, come play in our health sandbox with the absolute true health professionals in our awareness, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. That's what we bring together. That three-peat makes us repeat and do so much better because we're better together. And I was thinking today, okay, Dr. Jody, how long have you been waiting for this particular thing to occur? It's like it is 39 degrees. I moved to South Florida and you can see I'm in a cashmere sweater today. It's kind of like I've been waiting for this new nutrition to come out in my 49 years of being a holistic practitioner, health coach, and now in retirement, I'm taking the message outside of my box to the borders of the globe. But I'm thinking 49 years, it is kind of like when hell is freezing over. That's how long I've been waiting for this. This is how long it's been that we've been waiting for new nutrition, but it's here today. This is jam-packed. You're going to take notes. You're going to go ahead and tell your friends to like, subscribe, share this broadcast, especially with those that care about their health. And isn't that all of us? Shouldn't that be all of us? I believe it is all of us now, and I'm going to put this up right now to give RFK-Jr. this wonderful byline before we go into our first sponsor, Mansions and Manners, realfood.gov. We're going to be learning about real food today. Those of us in the healing arts have known about it for years, but now it comes to the forefront. Now it comes to you. You know what I've said? It's easy, but you got to see it. And what does C stand for? Simple, easy, effective. So if it's simple, just take one step to make that simplistic thing to change your food pyramid now to a funnel. It's meant the right way because food is meant to serve you. So go down into your funnel, find out about just how your digestion will be better, your everything will be better. I know I'm selling this strong. You know why? Because I believe it. Why am I selling it strong? Because I know you can be better today than you were yesterday, and you can be better actually the next day that you do this. And as we need great real estate to fill us up in the places that we live, now that I've changed my downsized digs to down here in South Florida, I know it really takes a lot to relocate, but it takes a lot to relocate you and your body too. But if you're looking for the great personalized, the great funnel of real estate, I'm just going to introduce you to Gloria Kurz, broker. Absolute Mansions and Manners is her vibe. And she takes the personal attention, just like we're going to take the personal attention to your food. So take a look, take a feel, take a listen to the consummate real estate broker, Gloria Kurz of Mansions and Manners.
Gloria Kurz is the principal broker and founder of Mansions and Manors. 30 years ago, she saw a need for a more intimate, personalized real estate experience, one that feels like working with a private bank. The Office of Mansions and Manors in Jamestown, Rhode Island feels like home, just like the communities we serve. We understand the emotional and financial commitment involved in finding the perfect property, and we're here every step of the way. At Mansions and Manors, we don't just help you buy or sell a home. We build lifelong relationships. Let us help make your dream home a reality, one home at a time.
And she has done this for 45 years. And I was putting this together, thinking when I bring us up on stage, there's about 150 years of experience that we've done exactly that. And the tribe with none other than, and let me just reintroduce, and maybe introduce to some, reintroduce to others, this wonderment. And it was really Bill Janicek that I said to him when he just did an epic show on my TV show when I first started out. And I said, Bill, would you want to do this? And he said, not only yes, but heck yeah. And here we've been. Do you realize we've been doing this for 3 years?
Damn.
Yeah.
How is it that we didn't get older?
I don't know. It's because I plan on realfood.gov. The meat suit man himself, the man with a plan from Yorba Linda chiropractic in California, where it's probably a little warmer than it is in Florida. But I can tell you that he has a Conquering Stress podcast that is second to none, because it will help you with the food you bring in and the stress you will leave. You will have everything you will with Dr. Bill. And then we've got Dr. Glenn Depke. My goodness gracious. I could go on and on and on about him, but he's the best friend of Dr. Bill. And it says something about patience and endurance. No, I'm just teasing Dr. Bill. But it takes a lot to say that you've been, and it says something about you being professionals. Dr. Glenn, you have been the best of Dr. Bill for so long. Dr. Glenn Depke, write the forward in our book, The Essence of a Woman. But he interviewed me. I didn't know I had enough to actually be interviewed from. By the way, you look dashing in your blue button up, Glenn. And we just got that echo. So I'm going to leave you on mute until I bring up Renee. But Glenn, I just remember the first time there was that electricity, that frequency, because Bill, that's what we had. Of course, your bestie would have the same. And Dr. Glenn, it was just so cool that I will always take credit that I gave you your name. That happened on doctor. Sent you 2 referrals this week, by the way, because that's what we have to keep doing. And of course, with our beautiful, I have to have a little bit of help when it comes in the deal of, okay, let's just keep it real and let's keep it a little bit female here. My wonder from Manny Lopez of the CEO to orphan to CEO concept of networking. And I remember when I called him up and I said, I need someone who is an expert in mental health. He didn't spend even more than 5 seconds. He said, I've got the perfect person for you. And you know what? He did. And Renee, it is you. From Next Level Recovery Housing, you'll hear about her medical mind share that she's doing with integrative wellness, what she's doing to the underserved, because it's one thing for recovery, being a mental health expert, but what do you do in bringing them to housing and then taking care of her health? She's a trifecta. She does all 3. And I can say, welcome, Renee. And it's just as cold this morning, almost as it was in Utah this morning. Welcome to Doctor Talk, as we talk about new nutrition. Welcome. So what I'm going to do, Mr. Meat Suit, I'm just going to put you right in center, and you're going to love. I even did some slides, gang, for us today. Look at this. So here we have the old, and what's old is new again. So give us your 4 minutes of wisdom. We're going to kind of wrap this up and do a Q&A, because I got something from our governor's first lady yesterday, Casey DeSantis, that just had to be there for our broadcast. So Bill, the next 4 minutes, your minutes, it's all you. Take it away.
Well, awesome. I share your pain because I'm trying to fight off the sunshine coming here in sunny California, where the weather is good and the politics aren't. So, but the whole thing that we're looking at is sun is nature, nature is everything else, and the dietary guidelines for would they start 1967 or something? Um, Everybody in the know knows that they were never based on any science, and even we've come a long way with our scientific research, what we know about diet and exercise and food processing and the things that they've done. If you look at the history, everything on that the old food paradigm was marketing. It had nothing to do with science or health. And
Nothing. 000.
zero, yeah, it was zero. So all us nutty people over here, us hippy dippy folks over here telling people what to eat and how the body needs. For a long time, we ran up against, the great industrial complex. Exactly. It was they were right in our face. And, for a while, I think it was difficult. But as people started to listen and get results and see what the foods were really about, it's switched. And probably in the last 10 years or so, now patients are coming to us and they go, "Oh, I get it." I mean, just even the general population, I don't know anybody that pays attention to that old one. But now bringing the new to the forefront is is amazing because now we're getting it out and we have the momentum of social proof. For one thing, is everybody kind of knows that, but now it's getting taught to our kids. I had a patient that she was head of nutrition at the school districts here in California, and they were in a poor socioeconomical area, and she had to meet with families to talk about their obese kids, and she was required to toe the company line and say, well, this is the government requirements, this is what we do, this is what we do. So when she's in the office, she has to explain that to people, and then she'd dismiss them, and then she'd run out to the parking lot and say, okay, forget everything I said, here's what you really need to do, because you can't do this, you can't do that. And she had to keep it on the down low, because if it ever got back to anybody, she would be fired.
Mhm.
To have somebody's livelihood who's supposed to be the expert put in that situation, you can either tell the truth or you can not have a job. It's like the Gestapo all over again. And growing up in the industry, you're kind of like, oh, well, that's just kind of how it is. But you look back about everything that's happened, especially in the last 6 years, about what we're told to do, what we're mandated to do, what we're, threatened upon. And to me, it's a war, and it's a war of the minds and the actual science, because even the science that they put out to tell everybody why everything was so great on the old food paradigm is bullshit, and it's bought and paid for by all the industrial complexes going on. And excuse me while I put on my tinfoil hat, but I turn my tinfoil hat inside out on, and it's just the chapeau of truth, and people are getting, yeah. And it's like I said, I've been sort of nice about it for a long time, but now it's evil. It just sits on the edge of evil, because you're bringing up these kids. Adults, they can be educated, they can be swayed. They see the results of the things that we've been told to do. And it's terrible when somebody comes out and tries to do the right thing and they listen to the experts. And the experts are the people in the schools, in the governments, in places of authority, that are looking down on and say, well, this is what you want to do. And you're going, oh, well, great. I'm so happy I have an expert, only to find out later that they're selling you something, and it's not your health, and it's not your longevity. And if you want to see if something's working, just look at the outcomes. We're obese, we're ADHD, everybody's stressed, anxious, and what RFK's brought to light was something that we've been screaming for forever. And you hear the fake news that's going on. Oh, he's a nut job. He eats roadkill. He does this. He's an anti-vaxxer. And it's none of those, because nobody wants to have a conversation about, here's why I believe this. Here's the data. Here's the outcome of what I believe, what I think is true. Here's what science backs up. Here's what you say. Here's the data. Here's a compare them and make the choice. And we don't have that. So I'm more than excited that the government is finally bent at the knee and is coming onto the light side and listening to the people that are in the trenches. So I'm stoked about this.
Oh, the new model, because it's always been our model, and I want to be respectful, because we have freedom of speech and freedom to think the way we want to think. But would you look to somebody who has hours in school, or somebody, as we see on this stage, who has spent a lifetime, like I said, 156 years? By the way, Glenn, Bill, and Renee, Doc and I now have it's been approved through animal testing. We're now in production for longevity price. So we can say 150 years, okay? But I mean, my goodness gracious, I like what you said here. I hope you like what I put as a quote. What do you think about this, Bill? Before I bring your compadre, Glenn, who is just amazing. Not only is he as brilliant as he is handsome, I don't know which is better. Okay, and I think what you said, it's a war. It's a war it's a war in the mind. It's a war in the body, and it's a war in the emotions and the mental state. And so now it's time to make peace with as I'm going to bring it up again, the new nutrition. You can see it just makes sense. And we're going to go over these in a little bit, because why not do something that makes sense? And somebody that always makes sense is the dapper looking today, as every day, Dr. Glenn Depke, the happy hormone doctor. If you want to know women how to get well and not to say what the hell with these hot flashes, he's the man, among other things. I guess we're using bad words today. Are we? But the next 5 minutes is yours. I'm just going to mute the rest of this. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's the old pyramid, has literally always been a joke, and I say that from the perspective of it's just not ideas for me. It's not just about what you learned or what you believe in. Like, a lot of what I'm talking about is based on testing. 100% of my clients, I test for what are known as gluten cross-reactive food sensitivities. And what I recognize is that really out of people who have health issues, because that's who comes to see me, the likelihood that they have either a gluten sensitivity or at least an American wheat sensitivity is over 90%.
Okay.
So
time up. That's good. Not to interject, not interrupt, but American wheat.
Right.
American.
Because our wheat is garbage. It's kind of interesting. I have an Americanized wheat sensitivity. I'm not gluten sensitive. If and I give you a quick little example. I was in Hawaii last April with a bunch of other friends, and they weren't really. Well, I wouldn't say that they were really nutritionally conscious on that trip. And I was like, it's 5 days. I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. And I ate things that I don't typically eat. I ate wheat-based products. I ate, different flour-based products. I had just things that I don't normally have. And I literally, in 5 days, I gained 11 pounds. All right, just by eating 11 pounds in 5 days. All right, now I was in Italy and London in July for 11 days. And every day I ate either pasta or pizza, and I had pastries every morning. I had bread at every meal, at every dinner, and I only gained 2 pounds in 11 days. And it's because of the difference of the wheat in Italy. As European wheat is completely different than the garbage we get here in the U.S. And so when we think of the old food pyramid, eat your whole wheat products, right? And it's a disaster for most people because, and even if you just have the Americanized wheat sensitivity, it's still a major issue. And that sensitivity is because here in the US, we do things like we deametize and hybridize the wheat, which makes it easier for manufacturers to process, but increases the sensitivity. And then if you're eating a wheat-based product that's not non-GMO and organic, it's also sprayed with what we know is a known chemical poison, which is glyphosate. And wheat in our countries tends to be stored in vats over long periods of time, so they develop a lot of molds and aflatoxins. So it's a major issue for people, and has been for a number of years. So the idea of grains, and when you think of just grains overall, heck, most rice is loaded with arsenic. So and a lot of the grains, people just have these cross-reactive sensitivities to, because they've been dealing with the wheat issue and the immune response for so long. The one thing that I'm always been supportive of is the vegetables. And that was like the second tier. And I would even say, like, it had fruits and vegetables. I would say the bigger thing is really the vegetables. A lot of people, like, oh, I'm gonna have my fruits, or I love this one. Oh, for breakfast I have this big glass of orange juice. It's like, it's like liquid sugar, right? And fruit's okay, but like, it's fruit in excess. Granted, fruit is natural sugar, but it's still fructose. It's still damaging. When you have too much fruit, it still can be damaging to the liver. But by all means, get all your vegetables in. That's something I've been teaching for a long time. And I usually refer to people, if you're trying to lose weight or increase your overall metabolism, eat the vegetables that grow above ground rather than below ground, because they typically will have a lower glycemic level. So keep it simple. Yeah, right. And the whole thing with the protein, where we were told to, almost restrict our protein. Here's a simple fact for everybody. Your body needs protein on a daily basis to basically create the building blocks of life so you can function at your best, and to manufacture neurotransmitters so all your neurons in your brain and your body can communicate. And with the protein you eat in a daily basis, your body can only utilize that protein for a 24-hour period. So what that means, if you go longer than 24 hours without getting your essential amino acids in and having adequate protein, your body will start breaking down your muscle tissue. I know that doesn't make sense. That doesn't sound like a healthy thing for anybody to really understand. And I'm going to go on the flip of that. There's also another level at where nowadays, I hear this all the time with my clients that come in my office, where they're working with their trainer, and this might be a 125-pound woman, and the trainer's telling them to eat 150 grams of protein every day because she's not building muscle. We're such the culture of more is better. There's such a thing as too much protein. I even say don't eat more than 26 grams of protein at one sitting, because if you eat more than that, now it's going to be compromising your kidney function. But you still want to get the protein you need. And the people who are going to the gym and you're not seeing the gains in your muscle building, the answer isn't usually totally exceed your protein needs for the day. It's usually you have to focus on breaking down your proteins. Because a lot of people just simply don't have healthy digestive systems, so they can't break down their protein into single amino acids, which is what they need to build muscle, to create those building blocks of life, create those neurotransmitters. And the other part, I think, has always been a joke, and this has been a joke since the 70s, because all of us, at least most of us have been, we were adults in the 70s. And
Yes.
who else was a closet Haagen-Dazs eater in the 70s? I
Was it
was.
Glenn? Was it Glenn? Yes.
Closet Haagen-Dazs, because remember in the 70s, stop eating fat, eat low fat everything. Here, newsflash, you need fat to function. You need fat for your brain. You need healthy fats. Now, granted, Haagen-Dazs is not the best way to get your fat. But in the 70s, I was a part of the rage. I was the person who was eating lower protein and lean proteins, and I was going no fat or low fat. And I find myself craving something that was high in fat. And I would literally go to the grocery store, buy a pint of Haagen-Dazs peanut butter and chocolate ice cream, eat the whole thing, and then I wouldn't even throw it out inside the house because I didn't want anybody to know that I'm eating it. I would go outside and throw it in a garbage can, because I was a closet Haagen-Dazs eater, because I was just trying to fulfill my body's desire for fat. And to recognize, now that we have the recognition that no, not only is fat not bad, it's actually good for us, and it's healthy fats. It's picking something that's some derivative of avocados or olives, or no sugar added coconut, or like fattier nuts like macadamia nuts. Some things that are really healthy, rather than what's being pushed on us as a society, like all these seed oils, and even worse, like the seed oils are prominent enough, but it's the heated seed oils. Those heat damaged seed oils are killing you, people. Just get that. And so it's just to see all this. What I think is nice about it is because, like Bill was mentioning, the adults can actually see the difference, but the kids, but here's what I've seen a lot of times too, is you have adults who have bought into something that is unhealthy and incorrect, and then that's how they feed their kids. And then they wonder why their kids end up, 50 pounds overweight, just like the parents are, because we're basically learning things that are incorrect. We're teaching this to future generations and making it about really correctness. And one other thing that I have to throw in, and I'm probably over my time, but this is really important,
Oh,
is
go
the other
ahead.
thing
Be
that
over. Be over.
everything that everybody needs to pay attention to is we're all different. We're all biochemically individuals. We all come from, really, like, I'm half German and half Polish. I might have a client who comes from, somewhere near the equator. So our genetic backgrounds and needs for foods are different as well. And where we're at in our functional health can actually affect our needs for food as well. So if anybody tells you this is the one way that you should eat, I usually just say run, because there is no one way to eat. There's a way for you to eat that fuels you, and the basic goal that I think everybody should achieve is enjoy your highest vibrant energy physically, mentally, and emotionally through the day with the smallest amount of food, because you're eating right. You're eating what's right for you, which then you don't have to overconsume food. Because people are amazed at how little I eat and still maintain like a 200-pound body. And, I'm not like, big muscle bound guy like Dr. Bill is, but I'm definitely, I'm relatively lean. I don't have a lot of fat on my body. And I maintain that with eating very little, because I eat what's right and I have healthy digestive function. So that's my soapbox for today. Obviously, I'm a little riled up about this one.
Oh, and Renee, so we could go a half a day on this. But Glenn, when I was expecting my oldest, actually, it was a big deal. Okay, and I mean, and the deal that I know is that for me, there was down the road from our townhouse. Here I'm pregnant, and it was Baskin Robbins, whatever, 32 flavors, 39 flavors, whatever. Well, I made sure once a month. My goal was to eat every single one of them. And I had this 9-pound to 14-ounce baby. I gained 20 pounds, and it all went to him. Maybe because I'm Norwegian and he was half Swedish, half Norwegian. I don't know. I had to throw that in. Before I bring up Renee, I want to take our commercial break, and I want to just say this. It's a lot of celery in here. It looks disgusting like mud, but it's really not. This, I guess if I would have been in it to really make a lot of money, I would have gone ahead and done this a long time ago. But this is my green miracle drink. If you want something that will give you everything that just go to my website, drjody.com, and it will be there. And you will I'm going to leave it up on the screen, because this is what I've done every single day, mixing it up with the seasons, because we're different in the 5 seasons. But that, under the blogs, it is absolutely my go-to for the last 35 years, and I'm older than 35. And frankly, Renee Brown with with Glenn Depke Wellness. And by the way, I want to put this up and be very, very respectful for all you do and who you all are. This is the Conquering Stress podcast with Dr. Bill. All right. Glenn Depke Wellness, the happy hormone doctor. And of course, Medical Mindshare. Renee is our proud sponsor now over a year as we've been on this journey together. Medical Mindshare, Michael and Renee Brown taking care of the underserved with real health right now through that absolute cutting edge way of serving humanity in health and real health.
From the well-known brands of Next Level Recovery and Sober Living Properties, Michael and Renee Brown present Medical Mindshare. Medical Mindshare has been designed to deliver integrative care and precision medicine throughout the community. Discover a more personalized path to wellness. Some people might ask, why is integrative care up and coming medically? Our answer is that integrative care can be tailored to your specific needs and goals. Integrative care considers mindfulness as a modality and many other alternative therapies amongst traditional medicine. Another feature of Medical Mindshare is enhanced recovery and rapid healing. It's always at the forefront of our minds so that you can experience accelerated healing and a reduction of symptoms. Contact us today to schedule a consultation.
And who wouldn't just feel the mental health yin and yang and homeostasis when you hear Renee's just beautiful dulcet tones on her voice? And I tell you, this flashed up on the screen rather quickly, so I just want to come back. If you did not get a screenshot of what we have here with the Green Miracle Drink, you can just go to drjodee.com. That's my website. drjodee.com. That's me. And I can tell you, just like Bill, you and Glenn have nicknames for each other. I tell you what, Renee and I do too. She's Minnie, I'm Daisy. I'm just going to say, Miss Mental Health, Minnie, take it away for your next 4 to 5 minutes. Yes, this could be a 2-hour episode. Can't wait to hear from you, dear. Oh, I think you're still muted. I'm not sure how that happened, but I will unmute you.
Oh,
There you go.
you know, today is just way too much fun because I'm so excited about this change in the food pyramid. Just so long needed. And you know what was kind of fun is to listen to Dr. Bill talk about the change in the 60s. And as I reflect on that, you know, that's when Kellogg's got involved with our food. And interestingly enough, we had at the bottom, we had grains and cereals. No surprise. You know, and then we have Dr. Bill talking about the 70s and how fat was demonized. And, you know, I'm more of an 80s individual, and I will tell you what, marketing snowballed up. And what happened is all of a sudden, fat was just like, you don't want to have any. And I don't know if you guys can remember, but the 80s, the 90s, low fat to no fat, absolutely everything was offered. But interestingly enough, sugar is involved, the manufacturers in the CDC. So sugar wasn't demonized. So what my friends and I have been talking about health and being products of the 80s, you know, we're feeling so good about so many carbs, bread, cereals, which we've been raised on, and then absolutely nothing on fat, of which, you know, I've had digestive troubles because I've not had enough fat to be able to produce enough bile. So, you know, this is a serious conversation of what this food pyramid has really led to. So with that, I always offer a bidirectional twist, because mental health and physical health are so one. And the recent stats for physical obesity now amongst the middle age are 46%. With everything following disease, etc., poor health. But what are we looking at as far as mental health these days? Well, what we're looking at is pretty darn scary. And that is 1 out of 4 children have a mental health diagnosis. And those that
Hold on.
are
Did you say
too
that's
crazy.
5%?
It is unbelievable. And that's a bidirectional effect of what's going on. And it starts with our food. So those that are 26 to 50, those individuals, 1 in 3 have a mental health diagnosis. It goes down by a tiny bit after that, but wow. Food, we are what we eat, and this new change is so darn exciting. So I definitely want to expound on that. This 80s influence that I've had, I'm going to be honest with you. I have eaten like a smoker, and I'm not kidding you. I get brain fog, my energy goes down, little bit of anxiety, hunger. I've got to get more food. And what am I reaching for? Oh, this is really funny. I'm reaching for healthy bread. Healthy bread. And guess what it has in there? It has emulsifiers. And what that's going to do is it's going to stop my ghrelin and leptin from satisfying my hunger. So I'll only feel more hungry after my healthy bread that has fiber and protein in it, synthetic protein. I can't really utilize it very well. And should I reach for an unhealthy processed food? What I would be looking at is more additives to disrupt my satiety, the leptin and the ghrelin. And honestly, they're so engineered to cause us to overeat. And I've just simply been told not to worry. You don't have a weight problem? Don't worry about that. But I'll tell you, the mental health effects from that are quite serious, not to even think of our physical effects. So when you think of mental health, you think of eating disorders, you think of binge eating. The common binge products, foods everybody's going to be reaching for is foods with fat, with sugar, with salt, and with chemicals that really don't allow them to feel like they've had enough. So we've had a lot of that, and I'm really hoping with the change that we'll see that disorder decrease a bit. But what is chemically ignited in our foods with the ultra process has just not enough has been said on it, quite truly. So now let's move over to glucose. Glucose is residing at the bottom of the food pyramid because healthy carb, healthy grain, it doesn't matter. These things translate into glucose, and that spikes us. So the common American is taking in about 6 to 7 spikes in a day. And then this is what happens with the glucose. It sticks to our fat, to DNA molecules. It gets sticky, and it's called an advanced glycated end product. These ages are responsible for Alzheimer's, for Parkinson's, for mood disorders. And it becomes a vicious cycle because where too much glucose is involved, then we're just going to see more insulin appear. until many of us have become insulin resistant and end up with diabetes. But we're going to have an overage of inflammation. And that's what contributes to the mental health disparity that we're looking at today so much. So with our standard American diet, we've been looking at a 50% increased risk for depression, for anxiety. We've been looking at more ages. We've been looking at more Alzheimer's. I think 70% of your Alzheimer's individuals have diabetes, that I've seen. This subject is so loaded, but the bottom line is a whole food without any marketing is going to give you satiety. I focus on the protein and the healthy fats that we're now seeing at the lower part of the pyramid for the first time. And that has given me so much reprieve. And I'm so proud to say I'm not this food smoker individual anymore because I have enough protein and I'm not just, I'm not just spiraling out there. And that's exactly what we teach in our treatment center because it has so much to do with how impulsive might we feel. And these emotions are really created so much from our food and our nutritional choices. And there's a new book out, the mind diet connection, and it is by Dr. Eid. She's from Harvard, and it has just been, she's been all over YouTube with podcast, and she's really revolutionizing psychiatric healthcare and how we're looking at that and changing it through food, but primarily what we are now seeing with the new food pyramid.
Well, and Renee, I mean, I have the best job in the whole world being cleanup here because everything that's been said, the meat suit, I'll come back with you, the hippiness bill, let's just put it this way. And then we're going to take a commercial break. I have something brand new that Robert Towns, is a fantastic video that I'm going to bring up next. But I like that the meat suit. Personally, I have stood by your blood type. I'm A negative. It's the only negative thing about me. I work well on a vegetarian diet, but I eat eggs because I need that protein. And my body's built like an egg and an avocado because I'm a woman. All right. All of this, if you look at all this scientific research, you can go back to the good book. It's all there. Glenn, what you said was you gave us the fire hose only just because it's like you're such the doctor. You teach, but and don't be put off. Oh, I don't know what these fancy words like whatever the leptins and the this thins and that. So just begin. And I'm going to tell you how I like to begin. Somebody's never done anything else. When you go to the grocery store, shop around the food aisles, put the majority of your time in the produce section, and make sure, even with organic, because it's only 60% organic, they snuck that one in. Bill, when you said it's a war with mind, body, emotion, it is. Make sure you rinse it. Go ahead and soak your vegetables, soak your broccoli, make sure it gets in there and whatever. And I have personally believed, because I feel better, if it comes from a mother, it's in the mouth of another. That doesn't mean it's for everyone. But I think there's a 3-part indicator. How is my focus? How is my vitality? How's my sleep? And we've all just said a different way and saying the same thing. But if you want a tip, and you know the ad is coming for healthopediaretreat.com, yes, we are only 4 spots remain for our immersive retreat in March. So if you want to know a little more, as Dr. Jim, my partner, has always said, that are simple instructions, easy to do. But when it comes to changing a habit, the most desirous of all virtues is discipline. Hold yourself accountable. You're the only person that will never leave you. Husbands and wives matter, and children at some age should better, right? So if that's the case, then take care of you and your world, and you'll see all the difference. And that's what we're doing in Aruba, March 22nd, 29th. I just want to give Robert Towns of Titan Productions with a Z, named after his son, a great big shout out. I told him at 8 o'clock last night, gee, Towns, as we call it, because there's a lot of Roberts in my life, and including my husband that's now in heaven with wings. I mean, it's like, Robert, I need this video. There are people that can spend weeks doing what he did, and he came up with this video no less than an overnight. So big shout out to Robert Towns of Titans Productions. Get ready. Awareness, alignment, abundance in Aruba.
Aruba, Jamaica.
Oh, I guess I'm thinking food pyramid. I think it's still up here. How about I remove that and let's do this again. And okay, I'm the only one that remembers the song Kokomo because of my age, but just go ahead and just, kind of what I want to say, just humor me because I'm the oldest of the group here, but we all know Kokomo, right? So let's go to Aruba.
Let's just stop at the first stop. Aruba, a rich blend of indigenous, African, and European influences. Feel the origins of the Arawak people, encompassing the island's art and tradition. Feel your awareness and alignment unfold as you connect with your ultimate version of healthy living. Lose yourself in the white sand beaches, warm Caribbean breezes, and the landscape known as the Windy Rock. Awareness, alignment, abundance. Find all these and more in Aruba.
So join us there. As we said, are you ready to dance, Bill? Because that's kind of your style. Aruba, Jamaica. And we're going to have Aruba at the end. We're going to have, but guess what? There's a fifth A in the room. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because our first lady in Florida, Casey DeSantis, and even said, she is one that has overcome and is her cancer, her breast cancer is in remission. And she said, I was a big Jolly Ranchers. This was on TV yesterday. I was a big Jolly Ranchers kid when I grew up. I wonder whether that one food made all the difference. And this, if you go to realfood.gov, you can go ahead and go to Casey DeSantis, the first lady, florda.gov. But this is just one page. I know it's not large and it's mouse print, but it's the effect gang that I wanted to have up there. This wasn't one page. It was 5 pages of food that had arsenic. Last time I checked, I think they gave arsenic to somebody they wanted to kill in Greek mythology, didn't they? So I just want to go around for our next 10 minutes or 8 minutes and say, Bill, back to you. So what do you think about that? It said, this was the bombshell. What Casey DeSantis said, I just pulled up this headline. Florida just dropped a bombshell. 28 of 40 popular candy brands tested had elevated levels of arsenic, like Tootsie Rolls. It was like 570% more. That's way above what's considered safe for kids. We were talking about adults can make the choice, but how about kids? Snickers, Mars bars, Skittles, you name it. They were all on there. Okay, Bill, what say you about the list from Casey DeSantis?
Cute. There we go. It's the same. I don't have much more to add. We're beating a gluten sensitive, hyperallergenic food horse. Again, I don't think the public needs more facts and data about that. If you just start it from the beginning, and the easiest stuff is don't put crap in your mouth. We know what crap is. Even
Yes.
people walking around. I think Renee, when she talks a lot about this stuff, is the mental health. We're having a war inside of us with, if we want to go full hippie and we want to talk about the meat suit, the brain suit, the body suit, but the mind suit as well. It's our relationship with food and what we're doing. A lot of people, we want immediate gratification. Sugar tastes good. It
Uh-huh.
makes us happy. It does all that, but we've got to quit chasing happiness with the wrong things. When Glenn said that, he was out, and we all do that. I mean, I'm going to eat whatever, because some of the healthiest things that you're going to do is going to eat a crappy meal with your friends, because the love, the camaraderie, the things that are above nutrition on that. Occasionally, those are far and few between. Glenn doesn't go to Hawaii every week, every other week, but we all do that, and you should be able to enjoy that enough. But you should have enough in your health bank account that it doesn't move the needle. And what people need to start doing is just start taking accountability for themselves and start looking about, is one Snickers going to ruin your life? No, but if it comes on your radar all the time and it's something that you're doing all the time, get away from it. People have to take more accountability for themselves and not be triggered by politics and what he said or she said or my gender. Or we've got to quit making weak people. And the diet, starting with early kids, when they have excitotoxins in their brain because of stuff that their parents or they're told to stick in their pie hole, are doing that. We could spend months talking about how bad all this shit is, but let's put on our big boy panties, Glenn, and and get in there and take accountability for what we're doing, because it always comes back up to the patient. What is driving you? What's the big dream that your meat suit is supposed to be carrying you around from? Maybe they need to go to Aruba, and maybe they need to be immersed around people that are getting it. I don't think education or resources not the point. It's wanting the outcome. I think people forgot how to dream. And if you have a life worth living, you're going to do everything you can to make that meat suit and that brain suit and your life suit and everybody around you to the highest level. And that's the saddest part when I see patients. And I know when Glenn sees the patients going into, it's like, we want to elevate you up so you can start smiling everywhere for no damn reason other than that you're alive and you're living and you're around great people doing great things. It's the data is nerd stuff. I love that. But for the general population, get off your ass and make better choices.
Yes.
For the long run, not just the immediate gratification.
Immediate choices for you. And I want to give Renee and Glenn, you both your 3 minutes. And yeah, we're going to go 5 minutes over, because guess what? It's our show and we can. All right. Renee and Glenn is going to clean up here. And just remember to begin, make that one step better, like our Healthopedia books with action steps. Just do one every day. And then give yourself, I would say, with the eating, I just had to throw this in, with your eating choices, make it something other than, as you would say, Bill, that goes in your pie hole. We've talked about this as well. Make something that it makes a difference there. So Renee, what your 3 minutes to tie this all up as you saw this, what to do so that you don't get all this, how about you, so you don't get the arsenic trap for your kids or you?
I really like the idea of just what can we add in so we just don't shock our psyche and get weird just from that. And I think, when we're at the grocery store, if we could stay away from the marketing, because usually all the chemicals, all of that follows. And if we go after the eggs, our fresh produce, the food pyramid in whole food form, that's the best beginning. And it's simply adding more in and just that awareness. And then we're there. And what is so nice is when we begin to enjoy more of the new bottom of the pyramid, if we focus on that gradually, adding more of that in, we're going to have a lot less cravings for the things that just bring on inflammation and then bring on a host of physical and mental health concerns. So I would just definitely say that. And fat for me, because of the era I've been raised in, is just so new. And it's been a little bit frightening, to be honest with you. But again, my digestion has improved. Healthy fats reduce inflammation. They're just very helpful for our body. Our brain is made up of 60% fat. That is crucial for our organs, and that produces truly holistic health right there. So that would just be my final suggestion.
Because real fat doesn't make you fat. And
That's right.
And there you go. So give us because you're so motivational. That's why you're the happy hormone doctor and you deal with women, Dr. Glenn, because you're so motivational. So give us our last piece of motivation. I love hearing from you.
Well, a lot has changed. There was a great book I read some years ago. It was called The 100-Year Lie, and it's basically how we've been lied to nutritionally and medically for the last, and I read that book like 15 years ago. So for now, it's a 115-year lie. And but so much has changed. Like even things like we think when I was a kid and I would go to McDonald's and I would have French fries. The ingredients were potatoes, beef tallow, and salt. That's it. Nowadays, that same fry, not same fry, is potato, vegetable oils, which could be canola, corn, soybean, or hydrogenated soybean oil, salt, dextrose for the color, something called sodium acid pyrophosphate to maintain the color. They add a natural beef flavor because it's no longer in tallow, and it's made with wheat and milk derivatives. That's the fry today, right? Very different. And then we think of that list that you showed up from Ron DeSantis's wife, the first lady of Florida. A lot of those things are, some of those we know are candies, but some of these foods are actually promoted as health products. Like I'd mentioned earlier that, the arsenic that is typically in rice nowadays, like white rice is like 92 parts per million of arsenic, and brown rice, which we're told is healthier, has 150 parts per million of arsenic. And a lot of these so-called health products are made with rice flours. So it's really just that, and this is where I'm going to kind of go with everybody. Like Bill's right on, we need to make better choices. Renee, you're right on, because what we're eating is 100% affecting our mental, emotional, and energetic health. And Jody, you're right on with everything else, right? And it's just something that, like for myself, if I have a craving for a snack, you know what I do? I cut an avocado in half and I put some Redmond's real salt on it, and I enjoy the half of avocado. If I have a taste for some protein, I might make myself a little collagen shake that has a coconut drink, some organic heavy cream, an egg, and then I'll put a couple different collagens in there, some glutamine. And you know what? If the occasional time where I really do desire, because I love chocolate, but instead of like in the past where I used to go and buy the pint of, that single serving size pint Haagen-Dazs deep chocolate and like chocolate and peanut butter, well, I don't do that anymore. If I really have a desire for chocolate, I have this like powdered A2 milk chocolate I can add to my collagen drink. So it's like we can still enjoy things, but you have to be smart about it, and we have to make better choices. And really, for everybody, we just have to educate ourselves differently. And with what Jody said, shop on the outside, Shop on the outside of the store rather than the inside of the store. If you're grabbing your avocados and your vegetables and your unsweet, no sugar added coconut, you're grabbing olives, like a real olive oil, like all these things are really healthy for us. And I'll go one step further is you also want to make sure that when you're buying your protein sources, buy grass fed. When you're buying your fish, buy wild caught. Because that's the other thing too, is that we're eating also, we're like, okay, we could eat protein. And then we go to the stores where they're loaded with antibiotics and hormones, and they don't eat grass. So they're low in omega-3s, like all these different things. So it's just make one simple, like smart choice with nutrition every day, and your life will change for it. So that's my 2 cents. Or they're not pennies anymore. That's my nickel.
When you said, I love the nickel, and it's going to stay a nickel because inflation is low right now. But look at what you said with this. You said vegetables and fruit. You must be the advisor to the Mohawk crew, Glenn, because you said this because it's discipline. But it's one of my often quoted sayings is success is found in your daily routine. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. Make the next right choice today. Only shop in the middle aisles. I'm going to come back if you need paper products and your laundry detergent. Other than that, stay away. And if you can't read the words on a panel, they're probably in the middle of Casey DeSantis's list. I'm thinking there's probably something there. But in all this said and done is that nothing tastes as good as health feels. Nothing. And so we've given you a better way. We've shown you this way today. Go to Healthopedia 365, our YouTube channel. Share this. We're in a major renovation, which is going to be very exciting for our channel. But I want to make sure that we're going to build on the nutrition, going to heart health, because it's Valentine's Day next February. And we'll be back here on the 26th of February talking about the heart. So let's have a heart, but starting with you. If you haven't made right choices, well, today you're no longer unconscious incompetent. We have made you unconscious competent to get to conscious competent until you're an expert like Dr. Glenn, Dr. Bill, and Renee. So just be a part of this with us. Each and every week, I will say I'm very excited to announce, it's kind of our nutrition section. Ron Gurley of Trentech Bio is going to be my guest this evening. We're moving the time up to 5 p.m. because I found a yoga class down in South Florida at 7. It's always about my yoga class, okay? And because this too is very important, and I want to end with this. Does your life fit into your schedule? Or do you make your schedule fit into your life? Make your schedule fit into your life. Make your foods fit into you. And if you don't even know how to spell it, like collagen rhymes with Glenn, you'll find it out there. I mean, you just will. And just remember this, Ron Gurley, who is the creator and founder of, like I said, Trentech Bio, but he's got the cutting edge, best curcumin that I've ever seen. And so he's going to be talking about the absolute beauty of curcumin and Curcumin Pro, 5 p.m. tonight, life's milkshake moment. But, guys, you each are your own milkshake in my life, complete with I guess today it's the Haagen-Dazs ice cream or the Baskin-Robbins ice cream, or it's the collagen-filled smoothie shake. But in every single way, you make this what this is known to be, Dr. Talk. We played in our health sandbox beautifully today. And I want to thank you so much for being here. And frankly, this is one you will want to listen over and over, because you can, just like you climb the steps going up to the second floor, you will make a difference for America, but mostly for you. Let's make America healthy again, but make you healthy again. And make it a great Healthopedia kind of day.
Woman up, 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 up.